That's the frequency that I would fill myself up with and practice feeling fulfilled in and start to, it's like you're creating new pathways, you're creating, you're cutting out new roads. You're cutting out new developments, right? Is where they're going to put in a new development there of a beautiful housing. We got to clear that energy, and it starts by being able to see yourself doing it first.
Welcome to Climbing the Corporate Ladder Without Breaking a Heel. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia. With over 30 years in the corporate world as a single mom, cancer survivor, and often the only woman in the C-suite, I understand the balancing act high-achieving women face. Now an executive coach and international speaker, my mission is to embolden every woman in the C-suite or on the rise to claim her agency and challenge the norms holding her back. Tailored for ambitious professional women, this show features candid conversations with powerful business leaders sharing their real stories of success and failure. If you're ready to look up and step up, you're in the right place. Join us and invest in your future today. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Climbing the Corporate Ladder Without Breaking a Heel. I'm your host and your coach, Dr. Cynthia. Today's episode is for the woman that feels like she's trying to do everything right. You know who you are. You're showing up, you're delivering results, you're carrying all the responsibilities, and sometimes you feel a little stretched thin or as though everything just isn't kind of feeling right. Sometimes success can feel more heavy than expansive, and we wonder why all this effort doesn't always equal fulfillment. So, if you're listening and you tick any of those boxes, you are in the right place today with my guest, Christy Whitman. Super excited to have Christy. She is a 2 times New York Times bestselling author with over 25 years experience helping and guiding personal and professional transformational growth. She's an expert in flow and energy mastery. She's the creator of a number of practical tools, courses, meditations, and seminars. She's the author of 7 books, makes my 2 feel just insignificant, but 2 of which I have with me. And the most recent book, The Flow Factor, How to Master Your Energy and Enter a State of Flow, which I just finished reading. It's absolutely amazing. She's also a trusted voice for high capacity women who want success to feel as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. So, Christy, welcome. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to our conversation, Dr. Cynthia.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, as I shared with you in our pre-call, I have really been um, in an awakening, learning and sort of leaning into the space of meditation, of attraction, of all of this. So our meeting was so timely for me, and I am just thirsting for more and more knowledge in this space. But I always like to start with our guest's origin story. What was the moment, the awakening that happened for you that you said, I have a gift here and I want to share this with the world.
Well, it came in 2 different parts because the first thing for me was my own awakening, my own moments of, whoa, I can meditate and call in universal light and feel soothed and have energy different than the one I'm currently feeling. And I can, go into that place of silence, and I can use guided meditation, and I can use affirmations, and I can use visualization, and, all of these. It's like, wow, it's like opening up to this whole big candy store of stuff,
Yes.
right? And it's a whole new world, like everything, even affirmations, and how do you do vision boards, and, the whole thing. That for me was me being a student for about 5 years. And then after about 5 years of just taking uh, meditation and knowledge of universal laws, and leaning in and claiming what I wanted and then seeing it manifest, and, having focus of success on a certain area. Like I used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I would just focus, all that on success. And I kept winning awards, and I was, they would we would get together as a region and a district, and they'd be like, "Just give them all to her," because it was like every medication we sold, I would have the top, right? So
Yes.
that didn't happen by accident. I worked, I took action, but my energy was so aligned with success. There was no other, reason for it. And then
Mm.
one of my colleagues, instead of being jealous, she was very smart. Her name was Latricia, and she's like, "All right, what's up with you? What do you do? What do you know that I don't know?" And I said, "Well, I can coach you." And she was literally my first coaching client, where she was at the lower, like, I think it was like 458, um, sales reps, and she was like 450. I mean, it was just low, low, low. By the following year, by applying some of the things in coaching and having her do some of these techniques, she went all the way up and won President's Trophy, which is in the top 10%. So it was a
Amazing.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she referred someone to me that went from making $40,000 a year to 97,000. I remember her goal was 100,000, and she was like, "Oh, it was 97." I'm like, "Whoa, perspective change."
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You were making
Yeah.
45, now you were made
Yes.
97. Let's celebrate our success, right? And that's the principle. It's
Yes.
like celebrate our success. And we as women don't do that enough. We're on to the next thing. It's like next. We have to sit in the pockets of
Mm.
success. And so I got to start coaching and doing that, and it was really just about. I started my home business. I was guided to do this because I am living. I'm a seeker myself. I mean, I'm an applier. I take this information, and when something contrasting what I don't want happens, and it happens to all of us, doesn't matter who we
Sure.
are, right?
Yeah.
Knowing the tools and how to navigate being stuck in that drama, chaos, fear, worried out, all of that, and being able to choose my own emotions, be able to choose my own beingness and what I think and what I say, right? I mean, there's nothing more empowering because I choose that. I choose that which feels good internally, and then I attract people, places, things, situations that match it because it's being like magnetized to you from a state of feeling good.
Yeah, so powerful. And for the woman listening that maybe hasn't had a lot of exposure in this space, I want to break some things down for just clarity because I'm listening to you and going, yes, please sign me up. Um, Talk about flow. Define flow
Okay.
for the person that has some kind of not clear idea of what that is.
Well, I think a lot of people have an idea of what flow is from a perspective of performance, right? Like we think of an athlete, making that perfect, like Michael Jordan, just dunking the perfect basket, and being able to, what's shoot 3 points, right? And just doing it so effortlessly, or Tom Brady with a perfect, you know, throw right into the receiver's hands. I mean, those kind of athletic performances and those, a gymnast getting a perfect 10 on something. These are evidence of that. And then you have another layer of like artists where you have a musician who, writes a song instantaneously, or someone that writes a book, or paints a painting. They're doing something that time seems just to go so quickly because you're in this place of fulfillment and flow and joy. You're in it. You've
Yeah.
become what you're doing, right? Um, Sometimes I feel like that in a Pilates class where I'm so into what I'm doing that nothing else, so I'm in flow in Pilates. You could be in flow with traffic,
Mhm.
right? Like all the signs are everything is green, right? And everybody's courteous, and you can get into flow that way. You can get into flow with, "Oh, look at that. Someone's pulling out as I need," right? So there's
Right.
day-to-day stuff that is evidence of flow, but what flow actually is, it's energy.
Mm.
It's the divine, it's the unlimited, it's the universal, resource, supply, truly that we all have access to because it's breathing us, it's living us, it's beating our
Yes.
heart, it's called life, right?
Yeah.
And we are a part of it. And being a part and engaged in a bigger way with your thoughts, what you're thinking, and your words that you're speaking, and the perspectives that you're holding, and the feelings that you're managing. You have an emotional intelligence. You um, are aware when you have an emotion that comes up, and you do something to take care of yourself and regulate those emotions.
Right.
Right? You
Right.
also know how to relate with others, like, you're not like, "Well, my life's so great," when someone else is, crying next to you, right? There's a certain level of, "Whoa, now's not the time to, feel all happy, this person needs compassion," right?
Right.
There's those emotional cues that as we relate with other people, and then how to manage that relationship, how to show up in it. I mean, that's really it, and then the actions that we
Yes.
take, you know? The actions that we take are all a momentum of what's going on inside of us, but flow is it's universal, it's unending, it's unlimited, it is constant, it's unchanging, and we are the factor. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about what's that mean?
Yeah.
Because if flow is everything, and flow is pure positive, natural energy, the rhythm and the action, the concept of flow, of energy is to flow, right? Energy just naturally wants to flow. And since we now know, right, that modern science, quantum physics, no matter what you do, you split open an atom, what's inside? It's energy. Everything is energy.
Right.
So what does that even mean, for us? And how do we manage it, right? It A thought, a word is energy. What we
Yes.
what we speak becomes, right? And so we are the factor. If there's pure positive energy and pure flow available to us each and every moment of every day, and we are aligning with that flow and we're
Mhm.
moving with that flow, we feel good.
Right. Right.
Right? If we are in a place of fear, doubt, worry, disappointment, all those human things that they're not bad. They're just, they don't feel good to stay stuck in them. They're emotional cues along the way. They're a vibrational choice, but none of those comes close to what it feels like to be aligned with positive energy, starting with compassion and moving forward, right?
Yeah.
We can feel good within ourselves, and that's just the most empowering thing that I ever got my hands on, is that, wait a minute, I can choose how I feel,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's big,
Yeah.
and then to be able to do it, that's really big.
Yeah, and I wanna that was one of the big takeaways that I had when I was reading both of your books. The desire factor and the flow factor is so much about this personal choice. I wanna harken back to something you said, though. When I think about, from a business perspective, when I think about being in flow, I talk a lot about every human being has natural gifts and talents. It's talent for what, right? And you use some examples, whether it's music or art. It's very easy to see or to hear when it is something that's of a performance or sports or whatever. But I can tell you, I was working on building a webinar, right? Of all things. Now, some people would go, "That sounds like the most boring thing ever." But I was in flow. I started that morning and I just started my thoughts were in sync. It was kind of this outpouring of creativity, and I found myself, it happened to be a day a couple of meetings canceled, and 4 hours later, right, I look up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's been 4 hours." And I had this kind of sort of brilliant, I thought, um, outline of where I wanted to go. And it feels so good when you're in flow.
Oh.
Right? It just is this, everything's just sort of working. And so for the woman listening that's thinking, how does that show up in my career life? I feel like sometimes you definitely know when it's not. It's that
Oh, yeah.
right? It's that feeling of it's hard, it's awkward, it's work, it doesn't feel like things are
Struggle.
coming naturally, it's the struggle, it's the absolute struggle, but what you talk about is that we have free will, and that while there is all of this energy, we have the option to change sort of our mental model and to create a different reality. Talk a little bit about at the essence of that. What's the how for the person listening that goes, I feel really out of flow right now.
Yeah, so flow is everything, and flow feels good. So that's the Cliff Note version, right? It's like, how do I feel right now? I don't feel so good. Okay, I'm out of flow because
Right.
flow always will be an indication. Feeling good will be an indication you're in flow, and flow is where all the good stuff is. By the way, I created a multi-million dollar um, business and course by being in flow because just even, I'm going to give you one of the things, just even asking yourself the questions that you want answered. So,
Mm,
for example, when you ask a question of why am I so stupid? Why can't I have her level of success? How come I can't seem to get ahead financially? How come I try everything and I don't get what I want? These are questions that you do not want the answer to. But
right.
what you do want the answer to is how can I be more abundant? How can I provide even more service? How can I be even more profitable? How can I have even more depth and connection in my life? Like these type of questions, that when you ask the question and then you allow for the energy to show you, it's like you step aside and it's like, show me. And it will come in a visual. Many times it will come in a moment of seeing yourself
Mhm.
not stuck because the visual pictures we have in our minds are everything. Because many times we don't realize it. We're in worry, but what are the pictures that we're seeing in our minds?
Right.
It's a picture that makes us worry, right?
That's
So if
right.
we change the image, if we change the picture, that naturally happens with the questions that you ask. So I would say this is a process that is so practical, granular. It has changed my life. It has changed hundreds of thousands of people's lives. It is so simple. It is almost like, seriously, but it is, what do I want? Because when you are in resistance, when you are focusing on contrast, when you are feeling any negative anything, you're focused on what you don't want.
Mhm.
And flow doesn't exist where what you don't want.
Right.
Right? So the
Right.
minute you change your focus, your mental focus to, okay, what do I want? I know what I don't want. What do I want? What's the opposite? We might even have to start over here with the what don't I want because I can't tell you how many years I've been a coach for 25. I've asked people, well, what is it that you do want? Well, I don't want to gain weight. Well, that's not what
Right.
I asked you,
Right.
right?
Right.
What do you want? Well, I don't want to get a divorce. Again, I say, what is it that you do want? Because
Yes.
it's so habitual. And to just even get yourself just asking that question, ask yourself that question all day, every day if you want
Right.
to. A
What do I
better
want?
even a better even higher version of that is, what would I love? What would I
Right.
love? What would I love? What would I love in this time with my son right now? What would I love in this time in this meeting? What would I love in my business? What would I love
Yeah.
in my finances? What would I love in my body? What
Right.
would I love? What would I love? It's my life. What would I love? Right? That's first.
Yeah.
So, what do you
Yeah.
want gets your mental game going on. Now that you can visualize and your picture, the images, it's like seeing the movie in our minds of us succeeding is one of the fundamental mechanics that we have as human beings. When we can see ourselves and repeatedly, not just
Right.
once, but
Right.
repeatedly over and over, it's like you're living it already. You're seeing that movie so many times played that you are literally living the having of it now. It
Yes.
feels so real. It is real because you played it so many times. It's real to
Right.
you just as if a memory, right?
Yes.
So focusing on what do you want and seeing that is essential. The second question then is why? Why do you want
Oh.
that?
Mm.
What's your why? Because the why is
Purpose.
yeah, it's so granular in our whole body, and it gets into our emotional body, which is our belly, which is our lower part of our just above our hips. Like that's where when they say you have a gut reaction, right?
Yes.
Like that's the emotional body, and that's where we usually have that first boom, like we hit something, we feel something, right?
Yes.
And what the natural normal, if you will, if we're stepping out of our own way and allowing flow to happen, is we feel an emotion, it moves through us like a huge energetic wave, right? And but what happens is a lot of times we close our heart down and we get into that animalistic part, that primitive part of our brain that is the
Yes.
fight, flight, freeze.
Yes, that's where I was at. You yes. Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah. So, when you can ask yourself, what do I want and why do I want it? Now you can start feeling and you start asking, well, okay, so say someone's like, I want to have more money. First of all, what's more money? I want to have more money. I want to say I want to make 1 million a year. Okay, great. You're making more money, or that's your goal of a million a year, 100,000 a year, whatever it may be for you. And ask yourself then why? Why do I want that higher amount of money? Why do I want that threshold? Because what's going to happen is you're going to realize, yeah, the money, I want the money, but there's something deeper than wanting the money. I want the feeling of feeling free. I want the
Mm,
feeling of feeling secure and safe. I want the feeling of feeling powerful, like I have powerful choices of
right.
where to go and what to do, what to wear, and like that's why someone I want money because I want to send my kids to the best schools. I
Right.
want money because I want to give my family the best food, right? I want money because I love fine dining and I'd love to go to these different restaurants, right? It's like now you're in the reason why. I love fine dining and I love going there with a special person to connect with, right? It's like, that feeling of connection, that feeling of whatever it is, right? We
Yes.
all want something because we're assigning our emotions, our happy, like our state of being and our energy on something that's outside of ourselves. So, what we're really saying is that I don't have it yet.
Yes.
Maybe someday, if when then, right? It's outside of me. So, right now, where I'm at, it's not enough.
So so many things in that I want to unpack. One of the things, though, I want to check my own understanding because the other thing I heard you say that was important to me is when you're asking, why do I want that? It's not to judge the why. It's not to say, why do I want that? And then say, well, I want to, you know what? I want to make $100,000. Well, why do I want that? And then to sit and play judge and jury about if it's a worthy thing you want. You didn't do that at all.
No,
What you right? It's not in judgment or
not at
to
all.
justify. It's not to justify the desire.
Exactly.
Right? It's
Yeah.
to go deeper around whatever it is. It may be that I love fine dining or I want to drive a really nice car or I've been eyeing a handbag that I really wanna have, and not to judge it or to justify it, but just to get to the root of the thing that you're going for. I think that's so profound.
It's life changing to know this because now it's never about the thing. Yes, you can still go get a beautiful handbag, and feel the fun in that and all that. But there's more depth in why you want that. And
Yeah.
sometimes you might even go, yeah, I don't even want that anymore.
Yeah.
Because what's really the key here is that your own fulfillment, what fulfills you? As human beings, each of you have lots of needs,
Right.
right? I have lots of needs, you have lots of needs. I mean,
Yes.
physical needs, we need air, food, water, safety,
Right.
sleep, physical movement, like we can go on, right? We need that we have physical needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Right.
But we also have emotional needs. We have emotional needs of connection and feeling appreciated and loved and supported and all these things. Well, that's a lot. It's a lot to expect from any, say, one person called husband or wife or partner, right? To give you all that you
Yes.
need and more. So, or
Yes.
even your kids or your job or, whatever it is you're doing, because you're looking outside and trying to fulfill yourself inside when what you're doing is you're coming from the inside out. You're choosing to be fulfilled. You're choosing to to focus on what feels good. And when you do that, when you're focusing on what is it, what do I want? Why do I want it? The last question is, how do I think I'm going to feel in the having of it?
Mm,
So I think I'll finally feel secure. So feel security now. And that's where my work is that I teach people how to do that, because when you start to do it, if it feels a little foreign, right?
right.
If my need for, I don't know, companionship has never been fulfilled, and I've never ever experienced what true companionship and depth and connection feels like, I'm to try to practice that into being, it's going to feel foreign. But you keep
Mhm.
doing it, you keep practicing it, and you keep doing it until it's not foreign anymore. Right? It
Right.
becomes more comfortable. So the feeling of, and I wrote about this in my book Quantum Success, that when I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, if we want to come full circle to this conversation, I was um I was making great money. I was applying the universal laws. I was winning trophies and trips and bonus checks, and I had my dream home, and first time I ever had a pool in my backyard. It was like, level of success that I had never achieved yet. And the level of, just gratitude for everything I had, yet for the actual job, I didn't have passion and purpose. Because for
Mm,
me, it's like, well, do people really need more drugs, right? Like, for me, there's your dog. For me, like, if I'm gonna, the way I approach, I know we need doctors and healthcare is amazing, and grateful that we have everything. For me, I personally believe that our wellness and our wholeness and our well being is already a given. We just have to factor into it, right? We eat well, we work, we move our bodies, we drink plenty of water, we get plenty of sleep. There's certain things we need to do to take care of our vessel, brush our teeth, floss our teeth, right? All the things that we do. Well, working on our own energy, mastering our own energy is one of those essential things, because it really is the place where it doesn't take a lot of time. It is something you don't just do once. It's something you do consistently, like drinking water. We don't just take a
right.
sip of water in the morning and we're done for the day. We drink water all day long, right?
Right.
We
Right.
eat meals throughout the day, right? We don't just sleep once. We do that every single night. There's a consistency about it. All I'm saying is that to know that I can get clear on what do I want, why do I want it, and how I want to feel, and then cultivate that feeling now and not when, then, if, right?
Right.
Not when something happens or if something happens or should it happen or if it's like I get to feel that fulfillment of that energy right now. And here's the kicker. Now, because I'm feeling it, I'm vibrating in the having of it, I'm appreciating it, I am now a magnet to it.
I've started writing. I bought I have it's a manifestation meditation journal. It's got everything, but it has your calendar in it. There's a place where you can say, "I am so grateful that now the thing that you are manifesting, right? I am so
Yeah.
grateful now that I have a best-selling book, the new one that's coming out, right? Um, and is that really the point of it, is sort of living in and seeing and visualizing and putting those positive words and feeling once that goal is achieved, what that feels like and sort of enjoying that moment right now.
Yes, it's think about it. There's manifestation has a pre, it has a pop, and it's got a post. So the pre part of it is where the energy is building, you're doing the work of thinking about it, it pops, it happens, right? That needs to be a stretch celebratory, feeling the success, anchoring that in, celebrating it, like really living in the moment, being fulfilled by it. because then there's going to be an after, and that after is always going to be the start of the new pre of something else that you want
Mm,
to manifest. So that post when something manifests, and I'll think about and ask me how I know, because years ago, this is over a decade ago, I remember feeling. Wait a minute. I have 2 books that have knit the New York Times. I've got great success. I've got a multi-million dollar business. I love what I do. I'm so fortunate. I was telling the story of I gotta get there, of what, my book, that the passion purpose, that's what we wanted to go back to, but, I was in this moment of, like, I manifested my husband. He was just fantastic. We've been together 19 years now. We have 2 kids, right? It was like I was going through all of that, and it was a feeling of like, "Now what?"
mm,
Because for me, it's check the box. I live in the house, I've got the money in the bank, I got, the career check, I've got the man check, I've got the kids, they're awesome check, body
yeah,
check, right? And to live beyond that, to have manifested all of those things is also just to sit in appreciation, like to
mm,
really, really give gratitude and appreciation for what you have. And that's where that becomes a really good post place to be, because then that sets you up for the next thing that you're wanting to ask for, or next thing that you're wanting to elevate, or the next
sure,
thing that you just want to be better or different, right? That always
yeah.
becomes the next starting point.
Yeah. You alluded to this, something I underlined in the book is flow state and survival state coexist. And you started to talk about and you do really unpack, our natural wiring is to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So our brains naturally go to the negative because our brains are intended to keep us from getting eaten or killed or what have you. Talk about the how those two things coexist.
Okay. So let me finish up the pharmaceutical thing that I was saying. For
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
me, so for me, it was I had everything except for passion and purpose for what I did, right? Back then.
Right,
And
right,
so for me, because that's something I'm feeling I'm lacking, right? Something I desire, but I yet don't have. The bottom line feeling after asking myself those questions, what do I want? I want a career where I feel like I am just, so in love with what I do that I could do it all day. And I never get paid for it, but also get paid really well for it, right? And
yes.
going into this whole thing, and it came down to what is it really that I want? And it's passion and purpose. And so that's the frequency that I would fill myself up with and practice feeling fulfilled in, and start to it's like you're creating new pathways. You're creating, you're cutting out new roads. You're cutting out new developments, right? Is where they're going to put in new development there of beautiful housing. Like we got to clear that energy, and it starts by being able to see yourself doing it first,
Mm,
seeing yourself and then feeling as if it's already done because you have the energy. And that's where you sit consistently in that energy. But what happens if, and this will lead into the question that you're saying,
yeah.
right? What happens if you do go into survival mode? So let's talk about this just to lay the foundation for this. I talk about how there are 3 different vibrational or spectrums of vibration, 3 different buckets, right?
Right.
So the first one is survival mode. It's when you're just, clenching. It's, anxiety, fear, doubt, worry, sadness, grieving, all those emotions and all those unpleasant things that we experience as human beings. Let's put all those in the first bucket. Even to boredom. Like if we are looking at keys on a piano, right? It's like if boredom is here, the next key is compassion, right?
Okay.
So compassion leads into the second bucket. And the second bucket is neutrality. It's there's a place of satisfaction. It's like I'm good here, right? There's a peace, there's a sense of fulfillment. I'm content, all is well. Yep, I'm not like, "Rah," but I'm
Right.
like, no, I'm good, right? And then there's the third bucket, which is the abundance, the passion, the purpose, all of those higher excitement, all these joy, bliss, all these really good feeling for passion, freedom, right? All those energies. A lot of times those energies of being in like a place of passion right? You can't be passionate all day long, it's like
Right.
it'd be exhausting to just
That
like
would be
have,
exhausting, yes.
right? We have moments, but it's like we go to those places and then land back into, I'm good. I'm so good. I'm just happy to be here, and then, ooh, look at that. And we come back. We might have moments of dipping into the first bucket because we are human beings. And as a human being, part of our brain has an animalistic nature to it. It has a primitive part. And no matter what we do with it, we can't ever outrun it. We can't fight it. We can't freeze from it because that's what it is itself. It is our way of survival. It's our way of surviving, yes, physically, but also emotionally, mentally, and all of that. So when we find ourselves in that first bucket, we're stuck in that primitive, it's the back of our head. There's
Mhm.
actually here's an energy mastery process for all of you. The head connects to the spine, and right where it does, there's like a divot in the back of the neck. Right there, that's an energy center. And if you can imagine that you're just opening up that energy center and just letting that energy flow out, what's happening is you're releasing the energy from the back part of the brain that is that responsible of fight, flight, freeze, right? Like
Got it.
amygdala and all that. So it
Right.
starts to actually let that release, which then the limbic system releases, your vagus nerve releases, your whole entire nervous system. You start to feel your breathing starts to relax, right? You can go down into your belly, let the energy, whatever is flowing out here, just feel whatever energy is going on in your belly and just don't judge it. Don't try to say a story about it. Don't try to go, what is that? Is that anger? Is that, just feel it, be present with it because as you're present with it, it dissolves. And that gets you back into a state of peace, of calm, of neutrality. And
Mm.
and this is all based on one of the universal laws. I speak about the seven essential laws, and one of the laws I talk about is the law of sufficiency and abundance. Because we can live in a place where everything's sufficient and abundant, because sufficiency opens the doorway for abundance. The minute we go into that first bucket, boredom or lower, it's like we're closing the door to that. We're closing the door to flow. So think about flow being the starting point of compassion or higher as way as a frequency.
Yeah, and almost
And
like
so
kinetic energy, you have to get it moving for it to begin and build momentum until you put that big wall or that barrier or something in the way, which might be boredom or anger or pick
fear,
a fear, right?
doubt, yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So when you feel yourself, ignited with, you're holding fear, you're angry, right? When you're in that space, what you want to do, and this is, I swear, this is like changed my life when this came through 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Compassion is a very misunderstood concept, but compassion as an energy is soft, it's warm, it's comforting, it's soothing, right? It's like you're cold and someone hands you a really nice warm blanket, right?
Hmm.
My team was talking about earlier how they have these like cute little beanbag things that they recharge itself in their hand warmers, and then there's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ah, right? It's like holding a cup of coffee or something, and you just like, oh, it's just warm enough. Like that
Yes.
feeling, that's compassion, right? That feeling of getting into your bed and you're like, oh, the comfort, the pillow, the man next to you in my case, right? The room you're in, like, like that. I just let myself go. That level of soothing is compassion. And there's three ways to cultivate this because what you had asked, and I still want to answer it. How can both survival state and abundance exist at the same time? Well, everything, vibration always does, but what gets manifested is we're the factor, what we put our attention on. Because if I am in this right now, the possibility and the potential for a thought of, let's say, an abundant thought of money, right?
Mhm.
um, I have continuous flow of abundance coming to me, right? Like that thought and that focus of thinking about continuous flow of money coming to me, that feels really good,
Mhm.
right? So that exists. Okay, so we're just going to pause on that and go over to the other side. Let's go the dark side for a minute and tell yourself, I don't have enough. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have enough money. What am I going to do, right? Like, okay, let's bring in compassion because
Yeah.
that might be true for some of you, right? So just bring in compassion. How do you bring in compassion? First, ask it. Invite it in, right? Just thinking about, ooh, that warm, soothing energy. Imagine it. Imagine as if you are being standing under a waterfall of light that's just warm and just so toasty and just feel comforted by it. That's the first thing. The second thing is hug yourself. Now, it might sound silly, but I'm going to ask everybody, please do it because it
Mm.
doesn't work unless you do it. So wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a nice big hug and just let yourself receive this hug for about 90 seconds. This also with the energy moving out the back of the head and neck, and with your energy focused on your belly, just letting anything out that you've taken on, anything that you didn't feel good with, just letting yourself feel this hug and then telling yourself that positive thing again. Money flows to me easily. I'm so grateful when I have lots of money coming to me. I'm so grateful to have so much business. I'm so grateful to have what I have, right? That right there is how you bring in that energy of compassion.
That is it's palpable. Yeah,
It
it
is. So
is.
so they both exist. Those choices for vibration exist right now in this moment. And what
Yeah.
changed, it was what we all focused on. I guided you all to focus on the good and then you felt good, the bad and you felt bad. And then guiding
Mm.
you back into that, all right, this is how I reset. This is how I neutralize. And then now I can start focusing on, and I really recommend having a movie in your mind because we have movies in our minds of things that we don't want.
Mhm.
Right? And it's important that I mean, I am super clear, like, whenever just the crazy visions that might pop in our head. My son's playing soccer, and all of a sudden, I have this vision of him getting hurt, and I was like, "Whoa, no, 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 no." So I'm just gonna bring compassion, I'm gonna neutralize that thought, I'm gonna let that thought go, and I'm gonna see him thriving. I'm gonna see him scoring a goal. I'm gonna see I'm seeing him pleased with his performance. That's
Right.
the movie. I'm seeing him enjoy himself, have fun, right?
Yes.
That's the movie I'm playing. There's going to be a movie playing one way or another about any subject that we have. And if we don't like the movie that's playing, like that one that I had, it's like, nope, I'm changing. If you all remember the VHS tapes, right? I'm taking out that tape, putting
That's
it in the
right.
new one,
Putting
right?
in a new one. I had that the other night. I was driving home in terrible, rain to the point that I had to put my flashers on because the visibility was so awful, and for a moment, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in an accident." Like, this I can either somebody's gonna rear end me or I'm gonna rear end somebody else, right? I had this moment where I was, like, starting to and I could feel it, that visceral feeling, and then I thought, "Cynthia, what? No, you're gonna get home safely, you're gonna go slow, you're gonna take your time, you're gonna be fine," but it was so fascinating about recognizing that path. One
Hmm.
of the things you talk about in the flow factor that I also highlighted is widening the gap between the stimulus and the response. And so in this example of your son playing soccer, my drive, it's this notion of recognizing it, but say more about and you even talk about some of the ways to create space and widen that gap.
Yeah, so there's always a gap between stimulus and response. There's always a gap between what we are observing and what we then judge, right? And the minute we judge it, the minute we observe something and then we put a, uh-oh, oh no, that's not good. Oh, that's not right. This is bad. That's wrong. When we put a judgment, we have this immediate reaction because anytime we are in a space of observing something that doesn't feel good and that we don't want, we that's when our primitive survival mode kicks in.
Mm,
Cannot sidestep it, right? It's not something we could try to enlighten our way out of it. It is a human function of our body, right,
Right.
of our mind. And so those parts, like when you hear that part going, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get in an accident," that's a younger part of you that you as the adult now, and it's perfect what you did, you get to reparent. So you get to
Mm.
say to right? You get to say to little Cynthia, come with me. I've got you. We're going to be okay. I'm just going to go slow. All is well." Because then that little voice, that wherever that fear or worry or doubt or whatever came from, that's a part of us that doesn't know that we're aligned or that we're protected or that we're loved or that that's a part of us that's stuck in fear somewhere. So as we
Mhm.
give compassion to ourselves now and imagine that little one, whoever she is, you don't have to go in and start digging around. I love therapists and I love therapy and all for it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have therapists years ago. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like we don't have to go tell a story about this. There's a part of you that in that moment felt fear. You don't have to worry about where it came from or, oh God, being reactive or judge it or anything like that. You just get to go, okay, oh, I've got you. It's all right. The minute you hear yourself in anything less than compassion, give compassion to yourself,
Yes.
right? Because then
Yes.
that's that moment.
So important.
I get you. This would be really scary. Like if you talk to yourself, I know this can be really scary. That I'm a little scared. I got to be honest, but I'm just bringing in compassion. We're going to get through this. We're just going to drive slow. We're going to do our best, right? The need underneath the strategy is we're just going to drive home slow, right? It's going to be okay, right? But
Right.
the deeper need is I need to be safe. I need to know I'm okay.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
emotional depth of this is going to work out. It's going to be all right. Yes, thank you for sharing. That's the worst thing that could happen. You're
Yes.
on it again. High five. Good job. If that's the worst thing that could happen, what's the best thing that could? What would I love?
Yes.
What do I want? Why do I want it? How do I want to feel?
There's so much to I can't believe how fast our time has flown by. For the person listening, there's so much to unpack, and I hope you won't dismiss it if you're not someone who has meditated or studied the law of attraction, what have you. You're not alone. As I mentioned, is sort of new to this in the last year, but I will tell you there's so much profound evidence, data, etc., that is 100% backing everything that Christy's been saying. The books are amazing. I would highly encourage you. The two of her seven that I picked up and have read are The Desire Factor and The Flow Factor, her latest book. I highly recommend you pick them up. Even if you're just curious, I think that's where it started with me, as this place of curiosity and wanting to better understand it. There's so much about breath work that you talk about. There's so much about the thing that was really profound to me throughout the message, and for the woman listening, is that in all of it, there's no judgment, indictment, or justification. It's this is, what do I want it to be, and where do I go from here? And to me, women spend a hell of a lot of time in guilt and judgment and
Yes.
that negative voice in our minds that we're never enough and et cetera, et cetera. That is not what this is about. If nothing else, do yourself a favor and just live into the space of we're all okay. You can
Compassion.
make it better and have the passion and the purpose. Christy, I end every show with one thing that you would tell the listener to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing.
Well, I have a perfect thing. So stop saying, I'm not sure if I'm going to give them in the orders, but stop
Doesn't
saying
matter.
words that, okay, perfect. So stop saying words that disempower you. And how do you know what those words are? Because when you say them, they don't feel good. I actually created a list of them and made videos about them. So it tells you what I would have you not say, what I would have you do, and what was the other part? What I would have you
Continue.
Continue watching your words. So you can
Yes.
go to watchyourwords.com. It's a gift. It's a free complimentary 30-day program. It actually has all the videos there if you're more of like a binger. But what each of these videos, they're quick. They're 2 to 4 minutes in length. And what they have is the word of the day that you want to stop saying. So, like, for
Mm,
example, I'll do a simple one. I miss. Oh, I miss this person. I miss seeing you. I miss, right? I miss being able to do that. I miss being able to do that. Miss is one of those words that we need to stop saying it because when we realize we miss something, we go in lack and we don't feel good. So, what these videos are going to tell you is what not to say, why, and what to say instead, just like I
mm,
did. And then what do you say instead? Instead of
yeah,
I can't, or sorry, that's another one, but instead of I miss, you go into I appreciate. Right?
mm,
Instead of I miss you, it's like I appreciate being with you. I appreciate you in
yes,
my life. Right? Oh, I just miss that
yes,
person. I really appreciated that person in my life. It's a very, very different energy. And
yeah,
each word that we say creates an energetic wave. The words that we say, words lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. I mean, that's just the natural progression,
that's right.
and it all starts with our word. I mean, in the beginning, there was the word, right? And
Yeah,
what they meant in the Bible when it said, and the word was with God, is like because that word of good is creative. The word of bad or destruction is destructive.
yeah.
So that's what I'd have you stop, start, and continue.
I love that. When as you said that, I was thinking I lost my dad about a year and a half ago, and the very first
Sorry.
thing that came no, thank you. When the very first thing that came to my mind was, I miss him. When you were saying I miss, and I immediately, as you were sharing that example, went to I appreciated the time. I was so appreciative of the time I had with him, and it literally change the emotional response. It doesn't mean that you can't have grief and that you can't live in feelings. Again, no judgment, no indictment, no
No,
justification.
I encourage that. You have to
Yeah.
process your emotions. You have to go
Yeah.
through the grief if you're in grief. I my dad too. When did your
Yeah.
dad pass? Mine was about a year and a half.
October of 24.
Okay. Mine was was it May 1st? What is we in now? 24 as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
wow, it's going
sorry.
on almost 2
Yeah.
years, but
I
yeah,
know. We're in that generation, I guess. Well,
we
Christy,
are.
this has been incredible. And I suppose it shows and demonstrates that we've been in flow because the time flew by for me. Spending time with you and listening to you. Do go to the website and do take a look at that free information that Christy has. Pick up her books. We'll have all of your information, Christy, in the show notes so people will know how to get a hold of you, reach out to you. You're also a coach and have so much going on right now. I know that people would love to continue to stay in touch and connect with you. So reach out to Christy, continue to follow her and check out what she's doing. If today's conversation resonated, and I hope it did, I hope that you find that you're not behind, you're right where you're meant to be, and that you have free will to change the trajectory of where you're going. Take the time to breathe, to rethink and redefine how you're showing up, to ask yourselves the questions: what do I want or what do I love? Why? And how do I think I'll feel when I get there? Such sage advice. This can work in your professional life and in your personal life. If you're feeling stuck or stagnant, take a moment, connect with yourself, and follow Christy for more great tips and wisdom and insights. Thank you for joining. Until next time, you've got this. Congratulations on choosing to invest in yourself. I know your time is precious. Thank you for spending it here with me. I believe in helping you look up, step forward, and fully realizing your potential. If today's conversation resonated, I'd be so grateful if you'd rate and comment on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And if you know someone who would benefit, please share this episode with them. Let's stay connected. Visit me at dr-cynthia.com, and you can find me on all the socials at Dr. Cynthia Bentzen-Mercer. Until next time, remember, boldly start working on your future today.